You have to grow through what you go through.
Welcome, I forgot this is my new intro, but welcome to another edition of Make Every Second Count Live with me, your host and award-winning international Make Every Second Count speaker. Now, each and every time I say that, it's absolutely amazing to me, makes me feel special, but I thank you so much for joining me tonight for episode 25 of season 10. Season 10. Amazing to me. But, I digress. So, I ask you guys if you would please share this episode out. Invite all kinds of people to watch it. Just tag them in the comments if you want to. I would absolutely love that. And then please keep the comments coming. We want to have more of a conversation than just make a presentation. So keep those coming and keep the thumbs up, the hearts, the frowning faces, crying faces. Heck, you can even get mad at us. Just help us trick the algorithm on one of the socials that we're on. And then with no further ado, I would like to bring to the stage Miss Martha. Hello, Martha. How are you doing this evening?
I'm super, Jeff. How about you?
Oh, I am fantastic. I cannot complain about anything. You are here taking the time out of your busy evening to be with my peeps and me, and I'm super excited about that.
Great. Now I'm looking forward to it.
So if you would like, Martha, please go ahead and tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and what you do. I would love that.
Sounds like a plan. First off, you know what? Mom loved my brothers better. Let's just get that right off the bat. That was my first adversity. Everybody loved my brothers better. And you know what? I'm sick and tired of hearing it. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So, who the heck am I? Let's see. I was a child psychology professor for 10 years. That was a lot of fun. Oh, I got a couple of stories from that. And I was a high school special education science and math teacher for 16 years. Got a lot of stories from that. Wow. And now I'm retired. I wrote a book called Yes, You Can Raise Happy, Responsible Children, endorsed by the Dean of Self-Esteem himself, Jack Canfield. Wow. And that's available at Amazon. And I wrote 2 workbooks, one to help you process your feelings, feel it, face it, free it, and another to help you find out why the heck is your kid misbehaving. So, the mistaken goal, figure out what your child's goal is. So anyway, that's pretty much me. I'm a parenting expert. And why? Because my son was so rotten spoiled when he was little that I had to learn how do you get a kid to behave without, hitting them or yelling and screaming and having a fit. And I managed to figure that out and put it in my book.
That's cool. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. And it sounds like you have had quite the life. So yeah. I do have to ask though, where are you from?
Oh, I'm in Michigan now. I used to live most of my life. I lived in Missouri and Illinois, but I'm in Michigan now.
Well, that's cool. I like that. I hope you're not a Michigan fan.
I mean, like sports?
Yeah.
I can't talk about sports. I'm not a lot of people in Michigan are really big on the Lions and something else, but I'm just not a big sports person. So
Michigan Wolverines, probably.
Okay. Yeah. I know the Red Wings. The Red Wings.
That's good. That's Detroit. So good job. So I know personally from my own background, because when I was 17, I spent 2.5 months in a coma and 3.5 in the hospital after a severe car accident. So I know that life has a tendency to put things in our way, tries to hold us back from growing up, from reaching higher on that ladder of life. Has there been anything that you have had to grow through, just like I grew through with that stuff?
Well, you know what? You're a walking miracle. And the fact that, you've come through and grown and been able to restore your health and to have your show and everything else just shows us that, what, don't never give up, never give up, never give up. And, for me, compared to you, of course, mine have been pretty minor, but I was kicked out of 2 colleges um, because I drank too much. And I didn't know what was going to happen then, and then and that was pretty much, the worst thing that happened to me, getting kicked out of the 2 colleges. But I didn't, I was young and I didn't know what I was going to do. And I said to my mom, what am I going to do? I got a 1.0 GPA. Yeah, it's a D, and let me tell you a little story about D. Okay, what do they call a med student who made all D's? Doctor.
I
Don't give up. Doesn't matter if you got bad grades. It doesn't matter. I know a guy. Oh my! I got so many stories, Jeff. I know a guy when he was in 4th grade. He had ADHD really bad. His teacher put him in front of the room with a dunce cap on. I mean, he was told all his life, "You're an idiot. You're stupid. You're bad. You're bad." And he spent a lot of time in prison too, because he became what people told him. But you know what? He got out of prison and he thought, you know what? This isn't working. This isn't working. And he's become pretty much a pillar of the community. He's a fabulous father. He has 2 boys. He's married, and he's a fabulous, fabulous family. So you know what? Never give up. It doesn't matter. He spent a lot of years in prison, and he's learning how to handle his feelings, because that was what happened to him. He didn't know how to handle his feelings. Somebody would say something he didn't like, he'd beat him up. So he's learned how to stop that.
Yeah, that's good.
So what's my point? Yeah, it doesn't matter what you failed at. Just try again. Try again.
So I know that when you suggested a topic for tonight, or you sent me a thing about what you spoke about, and you said that building a good life after failure. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of strange to me, because the way I look at it is, if you don't quit, then you're not a failure. If you do quit, you're a failure, because you're never going to succeed at whatever that is if you quit. But if you just fail at it, then you can fail and fail and fail and fail and still achieve whatever that is. And that's something that hit me. But I don't know where I was going with that. But
Well, if you want it bad enough, you can't give up. If you want it bad enough, you can't give up. Never, never, never quit. Just like when I got kicked out of those 2 colleges, I was crying to my mother, oh, what am I going to do? And my mother said to me, you're going to march right back to that college. One of them was here in Michigan. I got, oh, and you know what? I came to this Western Michigan University. I worked for this fabulous psychology professor, Richard Malott. And I was so proud I worked in his lab. I was so happy to be there, but I was a big alcoholic and screwed everything up, so got kicked out. Well, anyway, so I come back home and, I said, oh, Mom, what am I going to do? And she goes, you're going to march right back to that college. And she meant University of Missouri. And you're going to ask them to let you back in, because that's where I lived at the time. So that's what I did. I went back and said, oh, can I come back? And they said, yes, you can. You're on probation and you better shape up. And you know what? That's exactly what I needed to hear. I shaped up, I got good grades, and I graduated, etc., etc.
that's great. So how is it that you help people build a good life after failing.
Oh, okay, that's a good point too. You know what? In my case, okay, I go to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I stopped drinking about 8 years ago,
Well,
and about
congratulations.
thank you, and I sponsor a lot of people. I like to do a lot of stuff, but I was about 2 years sober, and I went to a meeting, and I said, man, these meetings are getting boring. I don't know what I'm going to do. What a snot. What a snot. And so this man, he comes up to me after the meeting and he goes, well, I'm on the corrections committee. Why don't you fill out the application and you can take AA into the jail? That'll keep you interested. And I thought, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. I taught high school for 16 years. I can handle that. So that's what I did. I filled out my application, and you know what? It was very interesting. I did it every single week for 4 years. I met some wonderful people who had really screwed up their lives, but they changed because you know what? Here's what happens. We do stupid things and we keep doing the stupid things because that's what's comfortable. We have this idea of who we are. I'm a loser. I'm not smart. I'm not pretty. I'm not skinny. Whatever it is, I'm not successful, and it stays in the back of our minds so that when we are winning, we believe it or not self-sabotage. We do crazy things. And, so I went into the jail and I found that I could really, the women who wanted to change, I could really help them. And what do here's the number, I'm going to tell you, Jeff, I'm going to tell everybody, here's the number one way to help yourself and help everybody around you. Just because you think it, nobody needs to hear it. Shut your big fat mouth. Stop giving unsolicited advice. Nobody wants to hear it. If you feel somebody has to hear it, say, I have a suggestion for you. Would you like to hear it? And if they say no, don't say anything. Too often we stick our nose where it doesn't belong. We tell people things that they didn't want to hear anyway, and it ruins relationships. And sometimes we think, well, I've just got to tell them they're doing this wrong and that wrong. Well, you know what? I don't need to hear that unless I'm doing something that could hurt somebody. Like, I'm keeping stuff too dirty. It has to be cleaned. It's getting dirt in the food. But other than that, if it's just your personal preference, shut up. In fact, I was at an AA meeting early on, 6 months sober. And this young man, he used the F word, every other word it seemed. So after the meeting, I'm standing with this guy, had 40 years in the program. And I said, I'm going to have to talk to that young man about his language. And the man looked at me and he goes, what, are you his mother? No. Are you going to give him a job? No. Well, don't you think he can say what he wants to say at an AA meeting when it's his turn? Yeah. Did he ask for your advice? No. But it could help him, but did he ask for your advice? So that taught me right there. You know what, Martha? Just because you think something doesn't mean somebody needs to hear it. And too often we run around telling people, you should this. The big one is you're a bad mother. You're a bad mother. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't say that. And oh my God, everybody gets all upset. Well, if somebody says that to me, here's the question. Oh, that's interesting. Why do you say that? One woman, her friend said that to her. You're a bad mother. And she was, oh, that's interesting. Why do you say that? And her friend said, you don't let your child have any sugar. Now, what was mom thinking? Mom was thinking, oh my God, I don't give her enough attention. Oh my God, whatever, because we think crazy thoughts. Ask, students, when you're a high school teacher and students don't want to do their work, you are the target of whatever. So, you're ugly, you're fat, you're old, you're a lousy teacher, blah, blah, blah. I can't learn from you, blah, blah, whatever. And I would say, well, that may be true, but we still need to finish our work. Or if they tell me I was a lousy teacher, I'd say, you know what? I want you to learn. So what I need from you is to write me a letter, tell me what I'm doing wrong and what I need to change so that you can learn better. And then I can look it over and think about it. And if I could do it, I want you to succeed, I will do it. But if I can't, we'll have a talk.
Wow.
I never got one letter. So don't take stuff in. One man just lost another job, of an intelligent, caring human being. He lost another job because somebody insulted him and he got all mad and he had a big fit and he screamed and yelled. So what? Oh, you're ugly, you're fat, you don't do your job right. Oh, that's interesting. What do I need to do? You got to ask questions. Oh, that's interesting you said that. What do I need to do? What am I not doing? Don't get your panties in a wad. Oops.
Yeah. I like that. Ask questions.
Yeah.
That is a great one that a lot of people don't do. And I think if people would ask more questions and show more interest in other people, then the world would be a much happier place. Because
Hmm.
when you make somebody else feel seen and heard,
That's right.
they're going to take that as you adding value, and then they're going to appreciate that. Even if they don't really want to act like it, they appreciate it. And that is something that people can be happy with, that they're adding value to the world, because there's so many people today that just take everybody else's energy, take everybody else's compliments, take all kinds of things, and it's just not good.
Mhm.
And I don't know, but I like the way that you're saying ask more questions. I
Right.
think that would very much benefit the world.
Yeah. Don't be defensive. What do you have to be defensive about? Somebody says you do a lousy job. Okay, well, what am I doing wrong? What do I need to do? What am I not doing? What should I do? And then you don't have to do it. But now you got, oh, thanks. Now I know.
Yeah. I have been studying stoicism lately.
Ah,
The Stoics from ancient Greece and Rome and all kinds of things. And the first point that they had was all about the dichotomy of control.
hmm.
And sorry, I just was scratching my nose, and I have a weird, my neck and shoulder hurt, so I jumped, and that looked funny, so I commented on it. But they talk about the dichotomy of control. They say that you can't control so many things in life. So people are going to talk about you, and people are going to say their opinion of you, but you can't control that stuff.
That's right.
Control what you can control. And I find that would be, that's along the lines of what you were saying. I like that.
Yeah, because otherwise you're a slave to everybody else. You're going back and forth. Oh my God, she said this, he said that. Well, does it really matter? What does it matter in the scheme of life? You
Yeah,
know, you have to
yeah,
really, really pay attention to what's important and what makes a difference.
yeah. The way I feel is, if it doesn't kill you, then it doesn't really matter, does it?
Hmm. Oh, that's good.
Granted, if it kills you, it's not gonna matter either. But if it doesn't kill you, it's not gonna matter.
It should make you stronger. Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
let it roll off your shoulders.
right, exactly, and stop kicking your own butt. Stop stop screwing stuff up. A lot of people who stop drinking, and if you're an alcoholic, you can't drink anymore. Or if you're a drug addict, you cannot drink anymore because you do stupid things and say stupid things. You do dangerous things when you're under the influence. Well, a lot of people, they just don't want to believe that. So what do? They go back out and they continue to drink, and the next thing you know, they've hit somebody, they've gotten in trouble. The law picked them up. They got driving under the influence, and now their life is really in a big mess. Now they're out of thousands and thousands of dollars. They got to get a lawyer. They've lost their driver's license. And you know what? Stop kicking your own butt. Most people make their own problems. Of course, there's enough aggravation in the world. How often, Jeff, do you get aggravated? Like the computer doesn't work, or this or that, or you got to, how am I can't even get into some of my accounts because they got to text me a code and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's just aggravation after aggravation. Even going to the grocery store, digital coupons, and it's like kiss my butt this way, kiss my butt that way. All right, where's your account? Show us this, show us that. Now, what's the one on your phone? Take a picture of that digital coupon if you want. Oh, good Lord. It's like taking a test every day, every time I go somewhere. But you know what? That's life, right? So if I have a big fit over it all the time, I'm kind of taken away from the quality of my life. So yeah, it aggravates me, but move on, move on. Just do it and move on. And
That's
what
weird
what's important?
because I was using AI earlier today and I was trying to make a flyer for the show. And I was messing around with it and trying to get it to save in a certain way. And I tried and tried and tried and tried. It still wouldn't work. And I'm like, what the heck? Why are you doing this to me? And it's like I had to sit there and think for a minute. It's not doing it to me. It's just not behaving the way it normally does.
Mm,
And I had to figure out that that's something that I couldn't control.
mm,
If it wanted to work and and I told it right every time, but it didn't do it. And
yeah,
so why let that frustrate me?
right.
And I look at it and I see the wrong in the ways that I do things sometimes, but I don't see that stuff right away. It takes me looking back on this stuff to realize that there was the error in my ways.
But
That
Jeff, it's
I
because
shouldn't get. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's because we're all big babies. We seem to think that things should go right all the time, every day, and nothing should inconvenience us. I don't know. That's delusional. That's delusional. Where do we get these ideas? Is it because we have such good lives anyway? I mean, even the poorest among us, what, have TVs and cars and computers, and and you can go buy stuff at the grocery store, or you can go to the food pantry. We have food, et cetera, et cetera. So life is so good here, where we in America, at least in my mind, that we don't really understand what's being depraved of, or yeah, deprived of anything, because we're all so spoiled with our phones and immediate entertainment, and and then we think, oh my goodness, I have to wait a minute. Oh, I can't wait to. Oh my goodness, I have to stay in line for 2 minutes. What? And we're so spoiled. How about let's go back to my dad being a POW of the Germans for 2 years. There are people who have suffered. There are people still now who are suffering, and here we are all bent out of shape because I don't know, we can't. Our shirt and our pants don't match.
I'd be mad though. No, not really. I don't know. I don't match a lot of times, and that's all right. It doesn't really matter. But so I have to ask, like, how would you suggest? I understand that if a person has a drinking problem or a drug problem, that they should go to AA or get some kind of help.
Mhm.
But what about the person that is just stuck in their feelings? What about the person that gets butthurt constantly
Right.
and gets offended at times, all the time? How can you try and help those people find the good life?
Well, I have my workbook, Feel It, Face It, Free It, and that helps you work through your feelings. And then I also have another workbook called Awfulizing, because oftentimes, we'll take the smallest thing and think, oh my goodness, now what am I going to do? Oh, I lost my job. I'll never get another job. We awfulize everything. Oh my goodness, my child didn't pass that test, or I didn't pass that test. And we seem to think oh no, what am I going to do? We awfulize. We make ourselves crazy over things that aren't even going to matter in 2 weeks or in a month. Everybody who's lost their job that I met has found another job. And you know what? And if you don't like it, get another job, even if you don't like it, while you look for a better one. Don't stay stuck and stuck. And it's just like the Stoics said, you know what? You got to move on with life. And there's that saying, Jeff. Let's see. Hard, hard people create good times. Good times create weak people. Weak people create hard times. Hard times create hard people. And then you just go back, round and round and round. So it's kind of like what's happened to us. We live these good, easy lives, so then we become weak. Oh my goodness! Oh, my feelings are hurt. Oh, oh, oh! And we see things that are of absolutely no consequence as some kind of big deal. We make a mountain out of every little molehill. But when you were living in subsistence, when back in the day, when you had to cross the prairie and there were no roads, you were on four wooden wheels and there were no roads and you had to cross rivers. There were no bridges. It was a whole different story. You had to look out for, it was a whole different story. You were, where's my next meal coming from? I gotta catch that rabbit or I'm not eating.
Yeah.
They were so busy living that they didn't have time to get offended and whine and cry. So part of our problem is that we don't have a good enough goal or a good enough reason.
So it sounds like you're saying that we have too much time on our hands.
That's a big part of it too. We all seem to think that we should be entertained, wasting all our time playing games, watching TV, watching movies, scrolling through YouTube. You know what? People and pets need our help. There are so many ways to get involved and to help animals, neglected animals, people in nursing homes who need somebody to talk to. They're lonely. Foster children. There are a gazillion ways to help, but no, we're so busy, entertaining ourselves.
Yeah. Wow. That's
So we're
that's
losing
great.
our picture.
What? I'm sorry.
But I can hear. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. No,
all good.
you just froze up there for a minute. It's like you did before where you were stuck with your mouth open and I couldn't hear you, but your picture was just stuck there. It was crazy. So I
Oh
know
no.
you have been talking a little bit about a few different journals and your book and things. How can people get a hold of those if they want to?
Well, you can go to payhip.com / Martha Burich, and all of my products are right there on that page. Payhip.com / Martha Burich, and it's on the screen here. And also, you can go to my website, marthaburich.com, or you go to Amazon and put in my name. My book should pop up. So there's a whole lot of different ways.
That is so cool. That I like the fact that you are helping people build a good life after what you call a failure in life. And I don't think it's a failure, but we went through all that earlier, and yeah, I'll just leave it at that. But I have to ask, do you happen to have any contact information you would like people to have?
Well, you can go to my website, marthaburich.com, if you want to email me. Just, Martha at marthaburich.com. Or you
Wow.
can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. I'm all over the place.
That's awesome. I'm so happy that you took the time out of your evening to be here with me and my peeps. And I put her payhip.com / Martha Burich here in the comments, and I will try and put it in the show description as well. But I need you guys out there, including you, Martha, to do me a favor this week, next week, and for the rest of your life. I need you to make every second count. Why? Because you never know when those seconds will run out on your one life. That's all you get, guys. I'll see you back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, for episode 26 of season 10 of Make Every Second Count Live. And until then, you have a great week and you have a great night, Martha. Thank you.
You too. Thanks, Jeff. It's been great.